live. Thank you so much for joining me and welcome to the Temple of Truth, to the No Holds Bar session called Sunday Sermon. Please read the caption of this broadcast. Read the description of the broadcast as well. Like it, share it. Invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends, your frenemies, and tell them that Mayegun today, Mayegun is live. And if you have done that already, right? Thank you. So tonight, we are having, a blend of being very blunt and at the same time being very kind of like accommodating. I don't know what that means in reality, but I just feel like as we are punching up, we are likely going to also be punching down. And as we are going left, we shall be going right. Whichever direction we go tonight, it is ideal to actually give what is called the caveat, especially to those of you who just joined Mayegun's Diary Political by chance. We use the Sunday sermon to set the record straight and also to set the brains of the brainwashed kind of straight as well. And in that regard, we do not have any respect whatsoever for the politically correct mugus, the people that will take offense simply because of the language used or the words used by Mayegun or anyone at all during the presentation or during the conversation with the callers on this program tonight. So Sunday Sermon is a no holds bar session on Mayegun's Diary Political. It is the session whereby if you are politically correct, for example, those of you that believes that we have to respect elders simply because they are old, right? It is not allowed on Mayegun's Diary Political. We do not have any respect for these rogues, these criminals, whether they are young or old. Do you understand? So don't come here and begin to throw around the words like, don't you have home training? Do you understand? If you dare come around to begin to question the word used on this program against some criminals who are actually like the worst of the worst, so to say. So, because we believe that whether they are young or old, in our own dictionary of vocabulary, we believe that the criminals also grow old. That somebody is now old criminal does not spare him or her the lashes, which is our own fundamental human rights. Don't come here and become a police, so the police that is policing our own our kind of like our words or what we say or we don't say. Waste here. You get it is a day for you not to even watch the broadcast at all. And just so you know, okay, we strongly believe that you see, the best way to address criminals is not to respect them. Do you get that now? Because we believe that it won't be our own responsibility that those who have shown again and again that they lack home training, because the real people that lack home training, right, they are your criminal politicians, your criminal leaders in Nigeria. They are those who lack home training. Because what can you say? Listen, what can you say? That who raised these rogues? Who are their parents? At least if you want to question us not respecting criminals, right? Our own question to you is that who raised these criminals? Who are their parents? Did their parents raise them to be treasury looters, to be murderers, to be genocidists, massacres, and what have you? So would you say their parents should be so proud that they raised sociopaths, they raised pathetic criminals in the public office who have destroyed Nigeria beyond any kind of like, any level of repair. So don't point finger at us, okay? Point the fingers at yourself as an hypocrite, a politically correct weary, all right? Point the fingers at yourselves, because if we are those with the right home training, when I say right upbringing, we are the people with the right upbringing who will never hypocritically, right, bow our heads for criminals simply because we hopefully one day want to be like them. Do you get that now? So on my Egun's diary political, the point I'm trying to make here is this, right? The people that we talk about, the people that we address on this platform deserves no respect. And you, as a viewer, you have no right, right, to question that kind of a position. So the ideal thing you can do is not to watch this broadcast at all, for your own good. Do you get that? Thank you. So, brethren, you know what to do after, sharing, after liking the broadcast. The next is to kind of like sit back, relax, and let's unpack what we have for us tonight. The last few days, we have seen upon the return of Atiku to Nigeria, we have seen the gathering of a lot of them, kind of like, they were talking about the situation or the current economic, security and whatever of a situation that the Tinubu and his gang have brought upon Nigeria or Nigeria, anyway, either way. And somehow, right, they are beginning to talk about how they plan to come and rescue us from Tinubu. Most of them were those who are the immediate past political office holders, by the way. People like Rotifmi Amechi, Amochi the Ubima, Judas Iscariot. And then you have the likes of Hel Rufaya, the Kaduna Littlefinger, right? The terrorist, promoter, terror sympathizer himself, right? And many, many others too. But there are, there are Nigerians, so to say, or should I say there are Nigerians that are always going to be readily available to be used by these rogues. And we believe on the other side that majority of them are currently acting like they now care about Nigeria and about you or the economy as they claim, right? Simply because they are no longer in power. So which means, under 2 years, it's becoming more or less like uncomfortable to be outside power. But these were the guys who worked with Bokwari, the same set of rogues who defended Bokwari as Bokwari destroyed Nigeria beyond any kind of like a repairable state, okay? However, it is good to mention their efforts because somehow, some of us believe that these establishments, for this establishment to crash, it has to be from within, okay? It has to be from the within, and it has to be them pressing the self-destruct button. So, and the only way they can do that is through the power tussle among them. There is a guy who managed to steal, to grab, and run away with power to their own shock. How did he do it? Despite all the effort to try to stop him, I think. How did he do it? Now that he has all the power, so they are about to test that resolve. There is a part of them that believes that Tinubu will not leave power. Of course, it won't. And there is also a part of them that believes that they could ride on the people's, the unpopularity of Tinubu, because let us be honest, it remained so unpopular. However, it doesn't need anybody's support, anybody's popularity with the rig system they have in that contraption. All it needs is just a few interests of some few people who are likely going to help legitimize the illegitimacy. And then the rest can be declared enemies. So this is the playbook for Tinubu. But to those guys like Atiku, El Rufaya, Amechi, and others like them, including the Malamun, Abubakar Malamun, they are all kind of like a grouping right now. They want to come and rescue me and you from Tinubu. So on the other, they believe that they probably could leverage on especially the obedient per se, those who are pretty much passionate about that contraption, So maybe they could leverage on that. However, how to put this whole thing together, right, without Tinubu and his gang infiltrating them is also a bit of a huge task on their part. Same face, same criminals, same crooked, politicians coming together to say, we want to rescue Nigeria from who? From themselves. And for who? For themselves. So my own advice, generally, is going to be the advice of Dele Farutimi when he said, listen, whatever you do, don't get drawn or don't get drowned into their war. Don't die in their war. So if you want to kind of like be part of their foot soldiers, they will eventually stand up against Tinubu. Just to make sure that you read the terms and conditions very, very clearly before you jump into it. Do not, for any reason, jump from the same fire to the furnace, so to say, because Buhari was like the frying pan, then from frying pan to fire to what you have today. Everybody wants to save Nigeria. They want to rescue Nigeria from themselves, right? So there is a part that, there are some kind of like instances where people believe that it seems that Tinubu doesn't really give a damn about how any of you feel, or it just probably doesn't even really value any of you, so to say. Tinubu has made serious, policy pronouncements, which have led to millions of Nigerians impoverished more. We've had a situation whereby people's purchasing power has been so kind of like so reduced to almost zero, right? That people are struggling to not only just to pay their bills, but they are struggling to even feed. And from what we have gathered, let's start with this. Tinubu came and he removed education subsidy. When he removed that, then he introduced what he called the student loan. Now you see this student loan, right, is another greatest scam, a scam that, man, is also evil as well. Okay, when Tinubu removed the education subsidy, especially for the unity schools and then federal government schools, right, their tuition is almost as same as the private institutions right now, whether you are in their secondary schools or you are in their university or any colleges of education and what have you. So you get to pay more now, okay? But then Tinubu and his gang now went into town to say, oh, we are giving student loans to Nigerians. So reviewing that, we have seen enough of, it's like feeding people with so much propaganda. It's like doing something like, let's say, for example, giving a 1%, right, support, and then a 99% propaganda. Last month, the guy who is in charge of the student loan under Tinubu claimed that they have shared over, they have shared over 14 billion naira. That's what he said. 14, this was last month, December last year. 14 billion naira shared for, according to him again, he said they have shared the money to 15 to 20,000 students. And he listed some institutions that got the money. Some got in some schools, you had about 200, 300. 150, 600, 100, or 40. Students scattered all over their charts, which is also fake, by the way. So then, before that guy in charge of their fake student loan came out to say that, okay, it was Wale Edu, the Minister of Finance, who said in one of the TV interview, by the way, he just dropped this fake number. He said, according to him, that they have shared over, I mean, they have given student loan to over 140, no, sorry, hang on. I think he actually said they've given it to over 500,000, something like that, 500,000 students. And again, if you now, this was like in October 2024. In December 2024, the guy in charge said they've only given the money to between 14,000 and 20,000 people, right? Random figure right now, right? 20,000 students. And they have shared over 14 billion naira. Now, Wale Edu said they have shared over 104 billion naira for 500,000 students. All of this just 2 months interval. Now, this today, their propaganda machine has been rolled out. And according to them, right, Tinubu said he has now given, he has shared over, what do you call it? 104 billion. Okay, that's why he put it at, to 600,000 students. There is no 600,000 students that received student loan from Tinubu. None. But this is the problem. Okay, they would have, they will give you, it's like offering you a loaf of bread. Okay, now the loaf of bread, you have 20% of it. It's like 1/5 of it, right? Is bread. The remaining 4/5 or so of it will be propaganda. And when you try to verify this, you will meet a complete brick wall where this information cannot be verified. You just kind of trust me. I mean, trust me, you know, I don't feel like for you. Okay? So if you go to their normal website, because they do have one, okay, where they have details of their student loan and what have you, there is no 104 billion there. The student loan body don't even have 100 billion naira. In 2024 budgets, Tinubu budgeted 10.5 billion naira. Remember that Tinubu was to spend over 6 billion or so on buying himself a yacht, remember, in 2024. While the student loan was put at a 5.5 billion. When people screamed, they increased it to 10 billion. Now they have been dropping figures, fake figures, of how much they've actually spent and how many people they've given the money to. Now, you know, the irony of it all, it is also heartbreaking, though, is that majority of people don't believe them. And they themselves don't care whether you believe it or not. You know? It's like that time when Tinubu was sharing rice. To them, anybody who is complaining of hunger is just somebody who doesn't like Tinubu. What else do you want him to do? He has shared rice. He has shared rice all over the country. And people are happy that they received rice, a cup of rice from him. It's an achievement to them. And they go to town to make it look more or less like, yeah, that's a very solid standard, policy. You know? So if you are a student and you have benefited, at least there should be 600,000 people. That is not a mean number. That's quite a number. So even if it's going to be just one or two, we should have them on this platform where you have thousands of people that are going to be watching. Do you get what I mean? So there should be one person or two persons who have received this student loan. Say, well, they paid my own, student loan. I got student loan, and it is this amount or this or that amount. I'm not saying they didn't, don't get me wrong, because if we have to even use the available data for any reasons, right? We can say they have less than, maybe 30, at most 30,000 people who have taken their student loan based on the available data. So give and take 30,000. Do you know how many 30,000 you are going to see in 600,000 people? Yeah. So give or take, they spend 20 billion naira. Do you know how many 20 billion you are going to find in 104 billion naira? Like, this is why you ask the question, because the impact, for example, schools have reported that, more people have stopped their coming. Like, they could tell. There are some of these schools that those who were supposed to resume